We'll just quickly go through it. So on the top left, Brahman is the Vivarth Karan. So what is Vivarth Karan? Vivarth Karan is which doesn't undergo change on its own, but it is key for anything to appear. So when we say wall is, the isness is belongs to the Brahman, whereas wall, which is the name and the form, everything, that belongs to Maya. So the isness part in anything that we perceive or see, the isness belongs to Brahman, and that is the Adhishtan, which is the substratum of the entire creation. So along with Brahman, all of this will happen. Then on the other side is Sat Rajtam, which is known as Prakriti, Pradhan, Maya loosely. All those names are interchangeably used, which is Trigunatmika. So the three gunas are Sat Rajtam. And in the Pradhan Avastha, when the creation is not there, they are in equilibrium. And at that time, there is no manifestation. That's when actually it is called, in the unmanifested state, Prakriti is known as Pradhan. Then if you just take the Satogun, the entire Satogun that exists in the cosmos, that along with Brahman is the Ishwar, and that is the efficient cause. So that's the one which is the intelligent cause to create the whole universe. But Ishwar by itself cannot do creation because there needs to be some cause to create anything. And that's where these individuals come into play. They are made up of impure Sattvaguna. So they're still primarily Sattvaguna, but uh, they have some impurities of some part of Rajas and Tamas, and that's why infinite number of combinations are possible, and we have infinite individuals around. And this Malin Sattvagun is the causal body, which is also known as Anandamay Kosh or Pragya. So I just wrote those names so that you may be hearing them in different places. This Ishwar is also known as Antaryami in some places. So this is the causal body at the cosmic level. This impure Sattvaguna, which is all the individual jivas, these are Vyashti, the macro level of individuals. Now, this is Jiva, and the Jada Prakriti that we see, the entire Jagat that's created, is made up of tamas. So now these gunas, they cannot exist in isolation. So when I say they are made up of tamas, is primarily tamas. They all have some level of satagun and rajogun also. So it is primarily tamogun that, along with the individual's karmas, that becomes the material cause. So material really comes from the Jada Prakriti, and the cause to create what to project. Because whatever is projected is for individuals to get certain experiences as a result of their karmas. So now this Jada Prakriti, the creation happens in this form as per the Taittiriya Upanishad. First, these subtle elements are created. So these are not the elements that we see. So they are in a subtle form. They cannot be experienced. But the 5 elements that are there are, so instead of saying space, air, fire, water, and earth, we call them by their primary attribute. What's their primary attribute? For space, it is sound. For air, it is touch. For fire, it is form. For water, it is taste. And for earth, it is smell. So the tanmatras, Subbu, that you were asking, are known as these attributes, which are nothing but the subtle form of all the 5 elements. Now, the way the creation happens is, first, space was created. 1/10 of this space gets converted into air. 1/10 of air gets converted into fire. 1/10 of fire into water, and 1/10 of water into earth. So that means there is more space, lesser air. And the other thing to note is, because air is produced from space, it will also have the attribute of the parent or the grandparent. So in space, there's only sound. In air, there is sound and there is
touch.
touch. So you can hear when the wind blows.
Wow. Okay.
Similarly, fire will have sound and touch, the heat we can, this thing, and the form, what you can see. Then water will have sound, touch, form, and taste. And similarly, earth will have sound, touch, form, taste, and smell, which is its own attribute. So one unique attribute of its own, and the other it inherits from the lineage. Now, these are the subtle elements. From these subtle elements, if you combine all the satogun, so even though they are primarily tamogun,
Tamogun.
but they will still have some element of satogun, rajogun as well. So from the satogun will come the antahakaran. Now, the way to understand is satogun is knowledge. So to know any of these elements, you need to have the satogun coming from that element. And when it is combined, because the mind can hear, touch, it's the one which deciphers whatever signal it gets from the 5 sense organs. So it is the combined. So combined satogun will create the antahakaran, which is man, buddhi, chitta, and ahankar. So these 4 things. Now, from the individual subtle element, when you take the satogun, the 5 sense organs will come. So from the space will come ear, from the vayu will come skin to get the sensation. Then from the fire will come eyes, which can see the form. From the water element will come tongue, which can taste. Now, tongue is interesting. It has skin to get the texture, so it can touch, and it also has the
Ability to speak.
water cup. Yeah, so it is actually a dual, it has two what do you call elements, the skin and the water thing as well. And then the nose is for the smell. Now, if you take the rajas of all of these individually, so vak is to speak, that's from the space. So because you hear and vak, and this organ of action is how it will respond to whatever signal it has. So what you hear, then you speak. So that comes from the space. Similarly, tvacha is the touch. So either you will grasp it or leave it. So that's the hands, so pani. And then what you see, either you go to it and acquire it or you move away, so the legs. Then the taste is the procreation organs, and the smell one is linked to the excretory organ. Then the combined rajogun. So we have combined satogun creating the antahakaran, and then individual satogun creating the sense organs, then individual rajogun creating the organs of action, and combined rajogun creates the pran. Because rajogun is linked to activity, satogun is linked to knowledge. So this is what will give us knowledge, and this is what will act. And the 5 pranas, which are like the antahakaran was 4, there are mainly 5 pranas. There are more, but we consider mainly 5. So pran is for respiratory, apan is excretory, saman is digestive, vyan is circulatory, and udan is either reversing or emergency response, like hiccuping, or at the time of death, this is the one going
Correct.
to take
Apana,
it.
basic. Udana actually takes
Udan,
over.
udan, yeah. So these are the physiological functions. So this whole thing from antahakaran, the Gyanendriya, Karmendriya, and Pran, these things make the subtle body. So all these are coming from the Tanmatra. Now, the world is created by grossification of these 5 elements. So we are able to see or sense space because it has the fire element in it. So that's what gives it, we can perceive it. So half of its own and 1/8 of the other 4. So half of Akash plus 1/8 of Vayu, 1/8 of Tej, 1/8 of Jal, and 1/8 of Prithvi together will form the Akash which we can perceive. So similarly, Vayu is half of Vayu and then 1/8 of the other. So then this is the one which can be perceived. So the whole Annamaya Kosh, our gross body, and the whole Jagat that we see is made up of these grossified objects. And this is known as the Annamaya Kosh. Within the subtle body, there is Pranamaya Kosh and Vijnanamaya Kosh. So Vijnan is the one which is Buddhi and Ahankar with the Jnanendriya, and Manomaya Kosh is mind and Chit, memory, with the Jnanendriya, and the Pranamaya Kosh is the entire Pran and the organs of action. That makes the Pranamaya Kosh. So the subtle body is also known as Hiranyagarbha at cosmic level, and at the individual
Sukshma
level, it is known as Tejas. So that's the whole creation.
Beautifully
Awesome.
explained.
Nice.
Hey,
Alpana,
Alpana,
yes.
Sakuba, you had a question. You raised your hand.
Yeah. So, Alpana, thank you so much. I think we should, Rajesh, one request. I think this portion of the video, if you can just post it as video itself in your YouTube, it will be great. We can referral instead of just posting it as a a normal podcast. Only this portion, if you can put it as a video, it will be great. So one question. Yeah. So one question, Alpana, so this Antakaran as well as this Gyanendriya. So that Antakaran, I understand it is still at a subtle level, but the what you put as ear, skin, eyes, tongue, are we talking about
The capabilities.
capabilities?
Okay. Yeah, because the manifestation of not all of them happens in all species. That depends on the gross body that we get. So whether we are able to use any of these faculties is based upon the form we take. So in human form, yes, all these are available mostly. But say amoeba will not have, say, separate, I don't know which organ it has, or others. Yeah.
Thank you.
But they are available in the subtle body for all. Whether it is manifested or it is available, they may be dormant because there's no expression. So that comes in the gross body.
So even for Jud kind of thing, right? That is available, like
So
insensual.
we say Jad is not there at all, in the sense like Himalaya also has Adhishthatri Devta. So there is a Devta which has taken the form of, say, Himalaya. So that Devata will have all these sense organs, yes.
Okay.
Just one more
But it's
question,
not-
Alpana. Not a question, more a request. I think last time you mentioned that your book that you read was Vichar Chandarodaya, which was primarily in Hindi, right?
Yeah.
I've been trying to get an English version on the internet. I've not been able to, but if you can just give me a
Of
link,
course.
or even a book,
Yeah, it's a book.
which I can buy, that's fine.
Yeah,
I
I
just
think
want a link.
it's available in India. I bought it from Amazon.in.
Okay, all right.
hey,
Will-
Alpana, my question was, you said that this first part, the ear, skin, eyes, come from the Sattva Gun, the pure Sattva Gun results in the mind and intellect, and the impure Sattva Gun results in ear, skin, eyes, tongue, etc.
No.
No?
No. So Antahakaran is the combined Satogun, so not individual. So it's the combined Satogun of all the elements, whereas the organs of perception are coming one from each. So from the space comes the ear faculty. From air comes the skin faculty. So from each individual Satogun.
Okay. So this was each individual Sattva Gun, and then you said the second box is from the Rajogun of these individual
So
elements.
this part is individual.
Ah.
So each one, so from the space, because it's linked to sound. So it is the capability to speak. Whereas this is the combined Rajogun.
Combined Rajogun. Okay.
It has different functionalities. So it's the
Okay.
same Pran, but with different functionalities, I would say.
I'm just wondering why there's no separate set of things for the tamogun. There's nothing for tamogun.
So tamogun is mainly this which is grossified and is converted into the whole universe, the perceptible universe.
Oh, that is the tamogun, is it? Okay, that I missed. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Thank you.
Including the body, isn't it then?
Yeah, all the
Physical body.
bodies. Yes, all the gross bodies, all the
So
bodies
it's
that we
primarily
know,
tamogun.
it's primarily tamogun. Yeah.
Kalpana, where you
This
said
actually is appears in several texts, right, Alpana?
It does.
Yeah.
It
The
does. Yeah, I remember saying it.
grossification appears in many. I think even in Tattvabodh, grossification
yeah.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tattvabodh
so-
classification I clearly remember, but even this ear,
Yeah,
skin,
even
and
this
sense,
one is there in
yeah.
many.
There's
So,
the
so I,
book.
seen it before.
in the context of yoga, it is mentioned that this comes from Sankhya, but it is there in Katha Upanishad as well.
Yeah,
this-
Sankhya is
this-
slightly different. It says the Mehet comes first and Ahankar comes second. Whereas in this, we are saying that Antakaran comes from the subtle elements. So the elements come first. That's the main difference. And I think even Pran comes much earlier as per Sankhya. So those are the
Okay.
2-3 minor differences, but still very
But
similar.
generally, it's yeah.
So remind me, Kalpana, what is Mahat?
Mehet is the cosmic intelligence,
Okay, yes.
which at here we say at the total of all individuals antahakaran is the Mehet itself.
So,
So a couple
I
of
have
big
one.
ones. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Ajay, go ahead, please.
No. I had other questions. So yeah.
So just related to Mehet and intelligence, one understanding I had, and I wanted to clarify, is when we say the Vijnanmaya Kosh, right, that we, all of us also have, my understanding is that that is the same for all. In the sense, that layer is the same for everyone. It's the Manomaya Kosh, which is different, but the Vijnanmaya Kosh is nothing but the cosmic intelligence and a part of that cosmic intelligence perceived through the body, right, to our subtle body, right. But the Manomaya Kosh is what can be affected by the vasanas and the samskaras, and hence the combination, the guna combination is very different, and hence the nature and personalities of people are different. But the Vijnanmaya Kosh that's behind it is the same.
Actually,
is that understanding correct?
so for this particular one, even the Vijnanmaya is different because Ahankar stays in Vijnanmaya. So Ahankar is identifying with each individual. In this particular context, we say Anandamaya Kosh is same for all. Anandamaya, there's no difference.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there may be a subtle difference in the way, what's included.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember getting this aha moment when I was listening to Katha Upanishad by Swami G, when he mentioned that, and I was like, yeah, if you were to extend that concept, if that were true,
Yeah.
then it means that each one of us can tap into that cosmic intelligence. It's not that somebody is more intelligent than somebody else. However, it is our Manomaya Kosha, which has the samskaras, and the impact of the samskaras and vasanas are felt there. And hence, we are not able to tap in to that layer beneath it. But we all have that layer beneath it that we can tap into. Hence, the potential is there for each one of us. We have to work on the samskaras to reduce the impurities there so we can tap into that, right? So that's kind of the aha moment I had when I heard it.
So you're right. Even in this context, yes, because Vijnanamaya Kosh is part of that whole this thing, you can tap into that, even if it is even in this representation where it's different for everybody, but you can very well tap into the cosmic chip, we call. The chip is there. You can tap into it, connect it, and then you can see the whole thing. Yeah. Which is the Hiranyagarbha. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, Ajay, you were saying?
Yeah, sorry, just looking at the chart again. So you said the sattva element, the subtle element, the tadmatra, that a tenth of sound goes to touch, etc., etc. So in some ways, the base tanmatra is the sound. I mean, the space, and everything flows from there. I mean, is therefore everything else on the right a subset of?
Yes, and that's why we say sound is the most powerful thing, because you make any change here, it can run through everything. So it can influence everything. So that's why the whole, in Kashmiri Shaivism, the mantra Vigyan is based upon this concept only, that the moment you influence the space element through Shabda, you can bring about change in everything.
But they have qualities of their own as well, each of them.
Correct. But it can be influenced because they all inherit sound.
Okay, so they have individuality as well. Okay, so that's one question. The other thing was that, so, I think Uday talked about tamogun. So you've got Jar Prakriti, which is mainly tamogun.
Yeah.
So how do you go from there to the chart below? Is that?
Yeah, so when we say mainly tamogun, there is still satogun and rajogun in that. Because these gunas cannot exist in isolation.
Yeah,
Most,
I understand that. My question is that from there, how do these five, so are they, I mean, your sort of flowchart goes down to these five tanmatras.
Yeah.
Right? So how do you go from Jad Prakriti to these five tanmatras?
So from the Jad Prakriti, Maya projects. So because these are the causes. So
right.
The Maya, using what's required to be projected to give the fruits of actions of all the individuals, has to create, what will be or experience. So for that, it will first project sound using the tamogun from here. But because tamogun, it's mainly tamogun, but not pure tamogun, it will have some satogun. Because that satogun will enable us to get the knowledge of that sound. Otherwise, if there is no satogun in it, we'll never be able to get knowledge of it. So it's mainly tamogun, but within that, there is satogun and rajogun, which creates that. And then taking primarily even further more tamogun is what this Panchikaran and the whole universe.
Correct. So tamogun is at the root of all this anyway. Yeah. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And then the final question I had was that when you say individuals right up there, is that Jiva?
Yeah. So this is Jiva and this is Ishwar. So the 6 things we said, right? So Brahman.
Yeah.
This is Maya. Then together they will create Ishwar. Together these will create Jiva. Then the relationship or the sambandh between Brahman and Maya, which we called as time, and which is we don't differentiate between the two, is Anadi. And the difference between Ishwar and Jiva, we think these are very different. That is also Anadi. This sambandh is very.
No, that's beautiful because you explained to us earlier that
those are the 6 Anadi things.
Yeah, so time is also Anadi in a way by that inference. Beautiful, thank you.
So the difference between Ishwar and Jiva is the ignorance, isn't it?
No, so the ignorance is this. Ignorance is the highest level. But this is also an ignorance that they are different. But that's a next level of ignorance, if you may call it.
Okay, right.
Beautiful.
Anadi means time?
Without beginning.
Without beginning, right? Okay, yeah.
Anant is without end.
Right.
Yeah, can I go?
Yes, yes, Srini.
Yeah, so how is the the karma theory connected with this creation? So
here. So along with
my question is, if somebody is born with some deformities, maybe he's not able to listen or he's not able to see, it means that one of this Panchabhutas is lacking, or
so the gross body
available, but
only the gross body is lacking. So for that particular birth, the faculty is, it's not fully available. In the
Okay,
subtle body, it is all good. Our power is 20/20 in the subtle body, but because of the limitation in the gross body, it's not manifested. Yeah.
So that is where the lack of it is there in the gross body.
Correct.
Okay, so the the free will which we are given for every janma. So like Kishore was asking. So I think it is the application of free will, which will gradually lead us to better birth. Is I think one of the one of the conclusion which I can make, because your prarabdha and free will always have a conflict. So sometimes you may have the prarabdha which is not able to completely what to say, your prarabdha will sometimes kill your free will, but sometimes if your prarabdha is weak, then you can have a free will where you can overcome the prarabdha also. So that is what
So prarabdha will give you situations. Free will is how you react to that situation.
To the situations. Okay.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing.
Yeah.
Alpana, you shared this already, right, on WhatsApp?
Yeah,
I did. Yeah.
It's
But
beautiful.
interestingly,
Thank you so much.
Alpana, I'm not able to get the Gita shloka here, but there is a focus on one of the chapters where he speaks about Nada Brahman, and he says, Swami Chidbhavananda, I remember having read it, that he says that chanting Om and using sound as a mechanism to be getting closer to Brahman. There's something to that extent. I think you also explained that how sound can make an impact to all the others, which is also the reason why it is closer to more sattva, and therefore I would look at it that way, right?
True.
Hey, Alpana, I just joined late. How did you, that's a pretty powerful layout there. Is it like your notes, or you just I'm just trying to understand how you collected all that, a lot of information.
So it is from a book called Vichar Chandrodaya.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
I just put it on one pager.
Oh, fantastic.
It actually goes into how then each element will bring about different even parts of the bodies, like how the earth element will create the bones, the blood, and so each of the 5 elements are in the gross earth element, right? So how each one of them will bring about different things, and how, say, from Vayu will come different capabilities to move, to crawl, to do all of this. It's a very nice description. But it's in Hindi, and I did find the English book, so I did get it, but I haven't read it fully. But I think I did just skim through it, and it is a good translation of it. So it is available in English.
Is it available in Amazon, English version?
Yeah, I did get it here, but I think if you get it in India, it's much cheaper.
Can you share the name of the book, please, Alpana?
Share it, yeah.
I will.
Thank you.
English version, Alpana. I'm not getting in English. I'm getting Hindi everywhere.
Yeah, I will share the English one. I'll go to my
So
Amazon.
Alpana, maybe long time back, actually, maybe a couple of years back, she actually shared a series of about 15 talks on Vichar Chandrodaya. I haven't gotten down to reading all of them or hearing all of them, but
Okay.
it's in Hindi again, but it's at least in your ear rather than having to read through the script.
Yeah, in fact, the Kashmiri Shaivism that my guru talks about quite a bit, science of manifestation, exactly goes along these lines. It's a great. I mean, it's a great parallel, but it comes from a slightly different perspective. But this is pretty awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I'll talk through a little bit the sound principle, right? The way the Kashmiri Shaivism talks about See, the space is basically a tatastu, right? So basically it just, whatever is asked for, it gives, right? The sound is the thought current, right? So for example, all of us have like one level of thoughts we understand, but there is a subtle level of thought current. I'm using the word thought current, which will give us like a sense of, a lot of us will see, I cannot trust anybody, which goes and overrides and a lot of our actions and thoughts, right? So in our core belief, there are some ideas we carry about ourselves. I cannot trust the world. I cannot trust this. Nobody likes me. I am the unlucky, right? A lot of those deep, very subtle thought currents we carry on our identity, right? If you just introspect, close your eyes and introspect, who am I? What is good? What is bad? There'll be some things that'll jump at you like on that. So those thought current hit the space, right? And the space manifests those situations again and again and again and again. So what that means is the reality we manifest around us is based on what those subtle thought currents are, right? So for example, somebody believes he's unlucky with money, he or she is unlucky with money, even though they may be working very hard to earn money, but repeatedly the life will show them that they will not have money, right? It's a very, very, very subtle principle of manifestation. So you manifest what you believe, not what you act or what you desire. So that is a sound principle, because the space, the thought hits the space. Thoughts are nothing but sound. It hits that space, and space is just a tatastu. Then it goes to all the grosser elements and manifests. The air and the earth, and then the reality before you manifest that way. That's a central principle of manifestation that comes in this process. It's very interesting to kind of contemplate. So which means that anything that happens around you, good, bad, ugly, is all from you. And
how do you differentiate
that being
between
is empowered. Really... Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
I said, how do you differentiate between belief and desire?
See, desire is I want to be healthy, right? But constantly I'm manifesting sickness in my body, meaning somewhere deep down I have a contradicting belief that is manifesting. So wherever desire is, you want to change something, but that is not happening. The actual manifestation is what you believe in, what you believe yourself.
So is this the kind of the thing that you have today, like the affirmation kind of thing?
It's even goes very deep than affirmation. Affirmations can help. That is where affirmation is. The science of mantras is in one way an affirmation, right? It's not even an affirmation; it's a healing, right? When you chant Om, you're kind of overriding the thought current, right? Like that constantly is like deep down telling you, and like bad things going to happen, right? I mean, this deep thought current is always bad things going to happen, right? That's where the segregation comes, right? I am seeing the world is different from me. I am different from Ishvara is because I need to protect myself, right? That essence of I need to protect myself from something bad going to happen. That is the foundational piece of the of the disconnect, right? So that is where this comes in. And then the sound of Om can heal. So when you chant constantly, ajaba japa they call it, right? You keep chanting either Shiva 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 or Om Namah Shivaya or Om, whatever. So slowly you're negating the power of that thought current, the sound, with a stronger cosmic neutralizing force, right? And then you start seeing the healing happening, right? Somebody's got a chronic pain. They say you chant Om, it becomes, you're overriding the deeper thought current with the Om that heals the process. So that's why the whole mantra is very powerful manifestation process here. Just because the mantra hits the space. Yeah.
Very well said, Mukku. In our tradition of chanting, we also chant one mantra it's called Arogya mantra, and it goes through the whole panchakoshas and tanmatras, and it's not asking for one element but all the elements. get me that light from making sure that I'm not bouncing back and getting my not a good thought, but good thoughts, totally different, right? So that's whatever Alpana explained. I think it's also there in that Arogya mantra from start to end, and it also defines the Manomaya, Anandamaya Kosha also. It defines that. So it's very beautifully explained. But how you said it, Mukku, I think it makes sense that the Om, or how we are trying to get ourselves free from all these thoughts and come to a place where there's no thought, no desire. I think we have to peel one by one and go back to the actual Anandamaya Kosha. But Alpana, your explanation and again was just amazing. Thank you. Thanks, Mukutu.
Rick?
Well, I just want to say, although I have no disagreement with peeling the onion, I'd rather slice it in half. And in the Gita, I happen to be reading chapter 6, and Krishna is talking about the importance of having a contemplative mind. And he says the only way that you will cure yourself of raga dvesha is to understand that the nature of the self is fullness. Because when you're full, then there's no need to pursue, no need to change yourself or change the world. And when we talk about these underlying concepts, these are the universal issues. Once we identify, ignorance and then error, we identify with the body, we're an individual, we're small, the earth, the world is large, and the forces. And again, the way to, I believe, really slash through all of that is to, as we discussed earlier, if you have the opportunity to be in front of a guru who himself has the vision, let alone the ability to share it, then because you see it's true for the guru, it can be true for you. And that to me is the approach, for at least for me. Not that there isn't work to be done, and not that we all don't do the work, but again, I think it took how many generations to get here? How many do you want to take to get home? Particularly when the truth of the matter is we're never other than who we are. So I'm just, again, fighting for Vedanta.
Actually, just today I was listening to a very arbitrary reel, which came up, and I thought it was very interesting, because what that reel actually told me was, if you have an issue, it's you. It's you is what has become issue, right? So in a way, the problem is you, the solution is you. So change your thoughts and change your world that you're living in. And I thought that was a great learning today. Yeah, thank you.
And I don't what Rick said, right? So I think the guru's grace, see the transforming, because all these are, if you can even contemplate deep down more, right? Our belief system through which our thought currents come is all memories, right? Memories from last birth, memories from childhood, conditioning from this birth. That kind of adds up all to kind of the identity whom we believe, right? Like I'm good at this, I'm bad at this, I'm lucky here, I'm unlucky here, right? I'm calling them as identities, right? Like who I paste labels on myself. And a lot of them are so strong. I think that even though intellectually I understand this through the Vedanta, but I think Guru's grace that Rick talked about, sitting in front, a lot of magic happens there, right? Because we can talk about oneness, we believe we can contemplate, but the minute a snake drops in your lap, right, you're walking somewhere, that's the proof of it, right? When you naturally respond with oneness, then that is where it has gone into the deeper downs of memory. And that, I believe, the magic in my experience also happens in front of a guru. The sitting in front of them, just looking at them, the initiations they give, those interactions is where the lubricant that makes this process a lot easier. That's been my experience, and I totally resonate with that sentiment.
It's basically satsang, no, Mukund, in the sense satsang and mahatsang.
Yes.
Your entire spiritual upliftment gets accelerated in their company, right? And it makes a huge difference.
Right. Alpana, closing prayer, please.
Closing. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah.
Hari Om, everyone. Thank you.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you all.
Have a great
Hari
week
Om.
ahead. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.